good though. The Star Wars ones have light up.
Good morning. It's prep school time where we strive for excellence. Let's go around because we have a new brain in a jar with us today. Go around and tell everybody who you be.
Hey, I'm Matt. You know me. I'm here. Yeah, that's me. I'm doing.
That's all you get. Be glad Matt gave you that.
Yeah, there's ample. You can go back. You can watch all the old stuff. You'll figure it out.
Matt, you sound so tired.
Show us the shelf. Anyway.
That's what I've been saying. Matt needs to do another video.
Yeah. Show us the shelf. My name's Hess. I'm not allowed to collect action figures. I gave away all my Nerf guns at the beginning of the summer at a kid's birthday party. And then the other day when Trump got elected, some mom in my neighborhood put out all her kids' Nerf guns on the lawn for free. And I was out for groceries and I doubled back and I filled my trunk with about $1,000 worth of Nerf guns in my basement. So I guess what I'm saying is the universe shall provide.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have been like, I got to go rent a U-Haul because I'm taking all these fuck them kids.
Well, I'm customizing them. I'm going to build. So the movie we're going to do, it's a kind of a surprise, but it's like a Toku telenovela. So now I'm building like an Iron Man insectoid suit out of shaved down, repainted Nerf guns in my basement.
I do.
Nice.
I have like a symbol. I don't know if you could see the set behind me, but we got like 3 sets built in process right now in the basement.
Speaker base is continuing to.
Oh my God, we're this close to like being able to walk through it on video. I'm editing everything together now.
Oh, that's super cool.
Super Spike.
I took a week off to make it really good.
Super Spike. If you see Molotov in one of Dave's chats, or Matt, if you see Molotov, please tell them thank you. Like every single Sunday morning before we start, this is already in the chats. Every single week. And it's cool. Like the nicest thing possible. I know that they also I tried to put bombers to them in the YouTube, but YouTube's like, we reject this comment. we think this is spam. And I'm like, fuck you, YouTube. But thank you, Molotov. I know sometimes they pop in and out, but
yeah, I'll mention it on Tuesday.
Come on, that's like the nicest shit. I always feel like this. Super Spike is the invisible hand. They're here all the time.
Oh, I love that shit.
They're our like just our patron saint of like attendance.
That reminds me of like I've been working on all these characters and I was writing like senile silver cicada, like 3-name bug shit. So Super Spike cicada, so like Spike might wind up in there somewhere, like Endless War Eagle, that kind of stuff. Gorilla.
Oh yeah, Gorilla is very good.
Gorilla. Yeah, spelled the one way and the other way. Yeah.
Did you Matt loaned me Peacemaker Tries Hard, which is the Kyle Starks miniseries that he did.
No.
That is basically him writing Peacemaker in the DC universe as he appears in the show. So big and dumb. It's very good, but there's an entire issue of him and Mansoor Mala just driving around and doing stuff together, and it is the biggest bromance. I was so heartbroken, Matt.
Mala's gonna Mala.
It was so good, though. I was like, I want a Brave and the Bold of just Peacemaker and Mansoor Mala doing activities together.
Well, I think that's what we don't dig down into. I always say that like Shawn Michaels and Watchmen there are things that people see and they take the exact opposite lesson from, and then we get like a bunch of copies of all that. Like, I love the dig down cute shit. I love it. I watched the first couple episodes of Invincible Fight Girl that just came out. I don't know if you saw it. It's fucking awesome.
I don't think I've seen that.
Am I allowed to swear and smoke? I'm sorry. I smoke in the base now. It's great. You invited that brain in a jar, like the evil one that they found in a cave.
I mean, with the glasses and the scarf and everything and the cigarette, you got a Hunter S. Thompson thing going on.
There is a
Thank
Hunter
you.
S.
That's exactly what I'm going for.
So, have either of you ever read Young Heroes in Love?
Yes.
No.
Did you? Okay, it was a DC series. Shockingly enough, it
was a weird little series.
It ran 18 issues, and I think that's just what you're talking about, because the primary majority of it is not them punching people.
I mean, I'm surprised it even ran that long. Now that I think about it, but there was that weird blip of the late '90s where DC was doing all kinds of weird shit.
It's kind of like, Matt, were you in on Soft on Wrestling? Were you there when we were talking about that all the time?
No.
So Soft on Wrestling was something James and I were making, like we wanted to make, where it was like a wrestling show, but there was no actual wrestling. It was just before and after, like promos and vignettes and stuff. So you never actually saw any wrestling. It was always just like, that was a tough match out there, doing like sometimes a Japanese style promo afterwards, where you had the person just sweaty and drinking and panting, cutting a promo, and then we would cut to like, the weird like cinematic vignettes that WWE used to throw at us, all the time. But
there's my whole argument though. That's like they took all this, like when you watch Power Rangers, there is a reason they intentionally shoot the American stuff in the juice bar.
Yeah,
because it can't all be like foam core punching each other. And I think what's missing from wrestling is like when you take the time to tell a grander story. Like you were in my exact audience with the chalkboard. I told you that, going all the way back to when I insanely started this. It's like when you take the humanity, like the Hawkeye series was really good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the Mr. Miracle Big Barda like book that I really, like.
Oh, the Tom King
take that stories out of the pulp or the comics or the wrestling. It just you distill it down too far, and it's just like it becomes unnuanced and flat. And
I think that was
all the same. Like
that Mr. Miracle thing. I think was the Tom King stuff. Which
Probably, yes.
I would also recommend. Wasn't it Tom King who did the Vision stuff, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah. That also. Tom King's got a particular story he wants to tell. And
yes. Well, and I feel that,
Yeah, it's almost always about, living through trauma and how we make adjustments to survive the current we're at currently.
I feel like Mr. Miracle is very much the hero throughout. Now I can put myself, I think you guys could too. You see yourself in all the X-Men or all the JLA or whatever. I think Mr. Miracle's story is the story that mirrors my own personally the most.
I would be curious, Matt. Who do you identify with most? Which character in either universe, either the two universes?
It depends on the story and the how I'm.
For the majority of time, like when you were a kid, especially, were you a kid who like I love Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like me?
I mean, that was definitely the case, yeah. And today,
Batman was mine, yeah.
I was always the Hulk and the Thing. Those were my two boys.
That's why my favorite G.I. Joe was Airtight, because he was like collected bugs and cans and plastic dinosaurs and shit.
I've been looking more into G.I. Joe lore, Matt, and fuck me, you need to run a G.I. Joe game. I am
the plot of Grand Crew is basically the Weather Dominator G.I. Joe storyline where they go collect the 3 pieces of the Weather Dominator. Destro's Weather like I am like, look, immersed, raised by television. G.I. Joe, He-Man, I had a Cabbage Patch Kid. I loved My Little Pony before Bronies because I was non-binary. If I did not watch My Little Pony in the morning, I didn't understand weekends. So like morning, you go watch My Little Pony, you go to preschool. And then Saturday would come, it's like, where's my Little Pony and why am I going to school? So yeah. No, I have an X-Men tattoo because like the X-Men books obviously like resonate most with me.
Who is both of your favorite X-Men then?
My favorite X-Men? Oh yeah, go ahead, Matt.
That's hard. You go if you've got one because I have to think about it.
I mean, I could do them all. I could do them all. I would say that, like, by far growing up, Gambit was my favorite X-Men because his card, I remember in fourth grade, his card said something about being like flamboyant, which is what they always used to call me, which is basically like gay or like, of French descent or whatever. I have the big long coat. He died in the new, he died in the new series, whatever, like right around the time that I got my, I actually have an X-Men tattoo with, like the Gambit, spotted flare. But obviously, bald, reclusive, basically crippled. So basically all of them. Professor Xavier. I feel like Magneto lately.
Wow.
I feel like I tried to be Professor Xavier, and now I'm just like, to me, my children.
Like Grant Morrison said, Magneto was right. I need one of those shirts so badly. If you're still in the business of making T-shirts, Matt, I need a Magneto was right shirt.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm in the business of it, but I can certainly do it.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the business between me and you, business where goods and funds change without taxation. Matthew, who is yours?
Oh,
do you have a particular one where you're like, this is my person?
I don't know that I do. There's so many characters in that sphere.
Yeah.
Because there's bits and pieces of like if you go with like everybody can relate to that that bit with
good one, Spike.
Peter David and Quicksilver. It's like, oh yeah, okay, now I understand Quicksilver. I've been there.
Yeah.
But geez, I wouldn't associate myself with Quicksilver other in any other fashion because
he's terrible.
But there it made sense. Yeah, geez. I'll ponder.
Okay, I was always three characters who always had my most rapt attention. Colossus, as you can sense a theme here. Kitty Pryde.
Yep.
I have always loved Kitty. I think it's because
that's a great one.
I think it's because Kitty was the reader's insert of like, look at all this wild stuff happening all the time. And I always loved Cyclops. The guy who was the Leonardo of the X-Men. The stuffed shirts, we got to do things right. Also kind of the Captain America of the X-Men. Very much also had his own problems, but yeah, the Boy Scout, like, I'm going to take all the weight on my shoulders so Wolverine can go murder. Wolverine, I'll do your dishes. You just go on and murder, buddy. I was never a Wolverine guy, and it's probably because his first appearance is in Hulk, and you fight the Hulk, you generally make an enemy of me. So, never been a Wolverine guy. All right, Matt. You got till the end of the goddamn show, so you have to clock out.
I still might not come up with anything.
Hey, anybody who watches this and is then on Dave's stream, Matt, are you on this week?
Yes, I am actually.
Then you will haunt Matt about this question if he doesn't answer. Matt, what's your heart out today?
Oh, I don't really have. I'm just kind of floating along. What's your plan? What do you got on the agenda?
I got it. You hear that, Matt? That's Super Spike as the Hounds of Tindalos.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely coming for you. All right, I got a list. First thing, and I thought Beard would be here today, but I don't know. Maybe he's got stuff going. He probably has family stuff. Yeah. I had the weirdest goddamn dream this morning. Beard and I traveling down to Kansas and going to like a weird bonfire party thing, and us like not really fitting in well, and it was us as us going and seeing people that I grew up with. Maybe it's because yesterday morning James and Doug and I dug through the internet to find because something came up about Doug's brother-in-law's current run of felonies.
Oh God.
So we looked through looking for relatives' mugshots. It was the weirdest hour of all of our lives. But I had this dream, and what set it apart was as we are like getting shit out of our car, and there's all these people down on the Neosho River, like you are like tubing and all that stuff, and they're kind of doing weird chanting around a massive like pallet fire. We look off in the distance, and there is like a building attached to grain silos, which is in a small town called Pickway, like 5 miles from where I grew up. It's just a town full of grain silos. Is basically what it is. I don't even think it's incorporated, but there's these big buildings that are like attached to the silos. They're like 7-story tall brick buildings.
Okay.
But in this, the building like had a walkway, and then like a, I don't know, 30-foot like offshoot at the top floor, and then it went up and down with no attachment. And that was the thing. James was like, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Like that does not work. Like gravity doesn't work that way. And people were like, oh no, don't worry about it. No. It felt like this insidious, like, no, come on down to the fire, everything's good. And the more we like were looking around, the more James was like, buildings don't work that way. Like non-Euclidean geometry. So this phrase popped into my head this morning while I was brushing my teeth. Non-Euclidean America. This idea of like even doing it, because one thing I very much enjoyed during Extra Life was doing Oz as the people being themselves, made by other players, which I believe is an anime thing called Isekai. Like people from one world finding themselves in another world, but whether it's magic or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of thinking like doing something like that, finding a system and doing like a weird hidden America type thing. Like a hidden America. I think you're muted, Hess.
I did, because I was sanding a thing. I played a great game on Jeff Stormer's Party of One, and I'll have to remember what it's called. But it was very liminal and very X-Files and very film noir. I'll try to send it to you. I think it'd be a great system for exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's some systems out there that might work, but they're generally very, like the Zone is a good one, but they're very one-shot oriented. And this is something where I'd want to come back. And Delta Green doesn't really work, but I'm gonna put it down. Characters in extremely abnormal situations. So I like the idea of what being a thing where the characters would go into situations and them realizing like this is not right, this doesn't make any sense. But the average folks there aren't like mustache twirling, cultists. They're like people. There was some BPRD stuff like that. Towards and was it not Hell on Earth? Right before that, it might have been during Plague of Frogs, where they were going to like small towns and just weird shit was happening. Because it was all secondary symptoms of the world being changed.
Yeah.
And I really liked that idea of like which we may just end up using Hellboy for it, because that would work in the BPRD thing too. All right, we'll come back to this one. All right. We still don't know what our Mount Monsters game is called, so I'm just calling it Aimless. I want to do this bad. We talked about this on stream a few weeks ago. Whatever happened to the Yetai or Ron Reese's Big Adventure? Because it hits wrestling as well as monster hunting. So the premise being that the Yetai has shown up doing stuff in neighborhoods, and it might just be Ron Reese asleep. But I kind of want to find some type, because I don't know where Ron Reese lives, and I don't feel the need to look it up. But this would be like in Georgia, because Atlanta. Yeah. But like finding out some type of monster or some type of local legend or something like that that's very southern, the America's South mind control or dream demon type of thing.
Okay. Mothman.
But is Mothman? I always think of Mothman as being like a harbinger.
Okay. I think there's some sort of psychological, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to go into my cryptids database, but
yeah, cryptids, or even like Native American spirits who could be like easily co-opted to do to our dumb needs, and even like maybe even having someone doing the whole like when the team does an interview going to a Native American person and going, oh no, that's dumb. Where did you read that? The internet? That's not at all what that is. Is that a tribal tattoo? Which tribe? Idiot tribe? I mean, come on.
Your Indian name is Jeff.
So when I got my affiliation with the Northern Cherokee, and they were deciding so one thing that what happened when we would go to powwows and we became enrolled in the Northern Cherokee tribe is like your if you have a parent there or a grandparent, they give you your name. So it was so funny because my Northern Cherokee name, and I know people look at me and they're like, oh my God, what the fuck? I'm enrolled.
I had no idea about this about you. This is so neat.
I'm a Northern Cherokee by a 16th. And my Northern Cherokee name is Kwanjami. But my dad would always say your Northern Cherokee name should be Shit's Too Close to House. So, which the people we knew who were also enrolled and were in the tribe thought that was the funniest shit ever. I actually almost went to a Northern Cherokee college, but I did not. But we played them twice, and it was good. It was good games. All right, cryptids in Georgia who use mind control. Oh my God, Matt! How do we not know there's a lizard man of Scape or Swamp? That is some baller ass shit.
What or swamp?
Scape or Swamp.
Okay.
Come on, man.
That
is cool as fuck. The lizard man of Scape or Swamp sounds like either a Scooby-Doo adventure or some D&D shit I would run for my nieces and nephews. All right, so I put it in the chat, the link to the thing I'm on. Anyway, we'll need to look for it. So what we need is a cryptid or legendary creature who is a mind controller or dream a demon, not spelled like D&D. All right, I'm cool with that. That at least gives us our next step.
Yes.
Okay, so next, I know I'm just like scattershotting, and we can come back to things as we find things that interest us. Who has heard of this thing called the Pious Day in Star Wars? Anybody? Okay. So way back when the Old Republic wasn't old, there's an entire like 3,000 year period where a religious movement called the Pious Day take over the Republic. They take over the Republic and they become this xenophobic empire and start like exterminating races. Basically, they turn into the Imperium of Man from Warhammer 40K. To the point where the vast majority of Jedi separate themselves entirely from the Republic and they leave Coruscant. But a sect breaks off and stays with the Pious Day because they find themselves believing in the message. And they've got a cool name, which I got to look up really quick because I did not write that name down. Pious Day. There was like, oh, did I misspell it? Yeah. Also, the emperor during that period was named Contispec, which is like, come on, that's the most Roman shit ever. Let's take a look here if I can find it really quickly. It was like the Order of like the Blind Face or something like that. He became Supreme Chancellor in a like 11,965 BPY. Also, they caused the Republic to go to war with the Hutts.
Okay.
Because they saw them as like the epitome of vice, alien vice. But they have like giant cathedral ships, like 40K. I'm trying to.
These aren't the dudes. These aren't the dudes. This isn't the guy in the white and the gold with the two sons, and he's like Space Hitler.
No, that's Vitiant, who was actually oh God, I can't remember the big Sith that was.
That's when I was playing the
he was Space Hitler
MMO. Like he was like gold and white, and he had two sons, and they all used yellow lightsabers.
Yep. Vitiant was a Sith Lord. So the Pious Day were just like straight up Catholic Church during the Crusade.
I was gonna say, so it's Opus Dei. It's right. Got it. Okay.
I'm trying to think what the name. So there was Jedi who stayed with them, and they had a the Pious Day believed in the goddess. That was their monotheistic religion, and the people who came up with these characters in this time period, they never like explained who the goddess was. So most people think, well, it's got to be Aboleth. So they were really worshiping like this horrific space elder god, and not even realizing it.
Don't accidentally worship space Cthulhu.
Yeah, basically. They also, a Bothan was chancellor when they started to gain momentum, and they assassinated them. So they could stick their person in. Yes, exactly, Spike. Big, giant space wedges that look like stained glass. So my thought is because the folks are way out in the outer regions, and the Pious Day sent out like basically missionaries and crusaders, that they run across a system where the Pious Day are still going and have for hundreds of thousands of years, not hundreds, but tens of thousands of years, and have control of this system, and then they can run across that and have to deal with pseudo Jedi who wear heavy armor and use lightsabers and are basically like paladins, but paladins of a really racist sect. Because I do want to just basically utilize like not Warhammer iconography, but an offshoot of like the Space Marine idea.
Yeah.
Because I don't enjoy like 40K as a game, but I do enjoy the Ken Burns-esque attention to detail of war.
Is there is there a Starship Troopers tabletop? Because I would be right there. That's the other thing. Well, like Watchmen or Shawn Michaels, everybody watches Starship Troopers, and most of its fans take the exact wrong message out of it.
Yeah, there is there used to be
the shit out of that.
There used to be a very good
Terran.
Well, there used to be a very, and there's the Skinnies too, which were the race that the Terrans thought they were kind of manipulating, but technically the Skinnies were with the bugs. Also, as Heinlein pointed out, hey kids, the humans are the bad guys.
Yeah. You're not supposed to behave like that. That's like I told Dee trying to explain to her what I'm trying to do.
It's a literal invasion for your.
Look, it's a trans toku telenovela, and it's My Great Dictator. Okay, like that's what it is. Like My Great Dictator is. It's a telenovela with Power Rangers, and I might be the Girl Ranger. That's what it is. But also, I'm Charlie Chaplin.
So I love the idea of that because this particular Star Wars series that we're doing, the characters are either Jedi who escaped Order 66, or in Ryan's case, he is a member of a crew of an exploratory crew who crashed on this planet like 8 years ago and been living the good life. Because this is a planet, for those who don't watch, it's a planet that the Rakatans settled, so it's full of slave races, and there's only 4 Rakatans left on the planet, and they're treated like big bads, mainly because they are, because they lost their connection to the Force, so they could no longer power their vehicles, and it's been, again, tens of thousands of years at least. So the races they brought as slave races have now populated this world, and they're living like this life with no commerce, just like living like on trade with each other, sort of a libertarian utopia without the war.
You're really good at this. I'm telling you. You should write a big lore. Give me that lore. It's like Calgon. I want to get into a bathtub of lore. Tell me about their agrarian system of economy. Yeah, here we go.
So they just killed one of the 4 Rakatans that was left. They did. Okay. They killed the Bloody Mother, the Maw, whatever you want to call her, with one of the special swords that the duelist, who is another Rakatan, gave them. And then the Gree, who are another like super old Star Wars race that actually fought the Rakatans during the height of the Rakatan Empire. They look like little squid people, and I love them to death. If you look them up, look for pictures of them. They're the most fucking adorable aliens ever.
Do they also enjoy jizz music? I'm sorry, this is the one Star Wars thing that I like to like.
In our Star Wars game, everyone enjoys jizz music.
Yes, thank you.
Matt, at one point, Matt and I, for like, 3 weekends, Matt, on prep school, you took Billy Ocean's.
Yes.
What was the song?
Oh shit! What is this?
Loverboy. I want to be your lover boy.
Yeah, Loverboy. Yeah.
So if you look up Billy Ocean's Loverboy, you can find the video on YouTube, and it is basically a ripoff of the Cantina in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
Matt and I populated an entire Star Wars setting based upon Billy Ocean's Loverboy, and it is. Anyway, the Gree took over like the space part of it because they were great. Even at that time, they were figuring out hyperspace travel, and they were awesome shipbuilders and engineers. And then there's the Zeltron, who the Rakatans use because Zeltrons are basically empath sponges. Hence the reason they generally just lie around and do sexy stuff, because it makes them and everyone else pliable and happy. The Zeltron basically are sexy purple people.
Hell yeah.
The Nograi, which people would probably only know from Timothy Zahn's books. God damn it. Yes, Mike, you're a little bit correct. My Helldivers and anti-democratic senses are tingling. As well as the Hidden Path, aka the Rise of Nub Rubbins. I mean, hey. And I can't remember, there's a race that was basically the race that would become the Tuskens and the Jawas.
Oh.
Because the Rakatans are responsible for Tatooine being a desolate world. Because the races there fucked around, and so the Rakatans turned their planet to glass, basically.
Oh.
Because Tatooine originally was like a nice verdant jungle world. And then when the Rakatans showed up, they were like, well, we don't want to be slaves. And they were like, guess what? Then you'll be dead.
I didn't know that was part of the...
The Rakatans are responsible for Kashyyyk being a jungle world. Because one of their planet terraformers went haywire and turned it into a giant jungle world. So yeah, Rakatans, big bad guys, have a weird heads. And a disease, some sort of thing, took away their ability to use the Force. So they were stranded because they operated all of their spaceships by the Force. They broke through hyperspace with the Force, and they would put thousands of slaves on their ships in torture, so they could pull the dark side energy off of them to be incredibly powerful. So the Rakatans not good folks. And when the Force was taken away from them, they basically descended into barbarism. Anyway, so Ryan's folks crashed on there and have been living this good life, but also just want to go home. Exactly. But the Rakatans, there's 3 Rakatans left. There's the duelist, there's the architect, and there's the archivist and the engineer. So I think they're probably going to want to go back and kill the duelist, because our current comatose Jedi that they found, the duelist said they would help them bring them out of his coma. and acquired the body. So, and that's the thing too. Their presence has basically kind of started to reopen the force through Cottons. So once they handle that business, but right now, what they found out last episode is there was a Chiss listening post at the edge of their sector.
Okay.
Because the Chiss are a big deal in the unknown regions. That was attacked by the Grisk. And the Grisk in Legends are like this lizard-like folks. They're hyper aggressive. They wear masks. They're kind of like lizard Mandalorians. But a lot of people think that what's going to happen in canon now is the Grisk will replace the Yuuzhan Vong in Disney canon, which whatever. But the Grisk use what's called client races. They're like, they consider, they'll make deals with other races and basically say, okay, well, you're going to do our dirty work for us. So they're the US. Basically. So yeah, it's I want to like do a thing where these races are just kind of figuring out that this sector has life in it. So God damn it, Spike. They're just figuring out that there's like life in this sector, like sentient life that is building all this stuff, and they're going to start trying to negotiate with it. But I also want at some point either the PCs, because now they'll have the ability to travel out of sector. I'm basically going to say now your hyperdrives. You've shared the information with the GRI, and the GRI have helped you basically build hyperdrives again. You can leave, but I'm going to try to make it so they maybe choose not to. And if they choose to not leave, there's going to be the Pious Day as a potential problem, as well as soon I'm going to have a Dark Jedi show up in an Imperial prison ship that they've modified to be a long range single person ship, because I love the way that ship looks. It's the two ships that Boba Fett blew up in The Mandalorian, where he said I was aiming for the other ship.
Is this that guy you pulled out of Dark Forces 2 or whatever?
It's connected to that. So he joins the Inquisition, right?
Yes.
She's already in the Inquisition. He's going through indoctrination. She steals his information, and she doesn't erase it, so they'll go looking for it. She instead goes in and changes all the coordinates. So he won't be able to find where they are. Because she is going to end up being put in Vader's portion of the Inquisition, and she's already been fucked up from one encounter with Vader.
Okay.
So she's like, fuck this, I'm out. She steals a ship, she mods it, she does a bunch of jumps so they can't find her, takes some droids, and flees into the unknown region with the actual coordinates of where Jarek had been. So she doesn't erase the coordinates, she just alters them greatly. So they go looking for New Hassa and Shugo, they won't be able to find it. And she just disappears. So she gets there, and it's going to be that thing where I want her to be like the counterpoint to, I feel like especially James's character is very like by the books Jedi. He is that, I wouldn't say James's character thinks he's Qui-Gon Jinn, but James's character is more like Mace Windu. So I want to put him in a position where there is someone who's non-violently pushing back, because I'm going to make it so she's like, I'm not fighting you. I didn't come here to fight. I left there so I didn't have to. But I don't believe in what you believe in, your tenets, and I don't believe in what the Sith believe in. I'm going to give her the, was it Anton LaVey? I can't remember which of the big Satanists of the 1920s where their thing was, their basically standard thing was like, their basic belief was do what thou will. Was their statement. I'm going to look it up because it's going to bug me.
Yeah, LaVey was like 70s, wasn't he? 60s, 70s?
I think you're right. It was do what thou wilt shall be the law. It was whoever Crowley. It was Crowley because
Okay, yeah.
so I listened to the Behind the Bastards thing about oh goddamn it, I can't think of the rocket scientist's name now. He was like one of the people who helped our rockets get off the ground. Who was a Crowley follower, and who L. Ron Hubbard swindled out of a bunch of money and his wife. Because hey, if you don't know, kids, L. Ron Hubbard was the worst.
Oh yeah, L. Ron Hubbard sucks.
If you listen to the Behind the Bastard episodes on Jack Parsons was the guy's name. If you listen to the Behind the Bastards on L. Ron Hubbard, they're so entertaining because what a giant piece of shit con man, just an amazing liar. God damn, that show is the best. So anyway, Jack Parsons, I believe, was his name, which also makes me want to. Jack Parsons. Yeah, an engineer and chemist. Sex, drugs, magic, and rocket science. They ran him out of the program because he was doing like weird sex magic stuff before rocket launches, and they were like, "We can't do that. We can't do that, Jack." And he was like, "Why not?" They're like, Jack, can you stop ejaculating in the corner?
Jack, stop doing Thelemy, etc.
Yeah. Jack Parsons, that shit is wild. All right. Controlled by the pious day. So we said Dark Jedi flees the Inquisition and makes it to Shugo. So I have to find a good name for her. I was kind of thinking of the name Nedrin, but it doesn't like I haven't found a name yet that like grabs me.
Mm-hmm.
Which I got to because I already forget enough characters' names right now. Oh, and changed all the coordinates in Jarek's file, so Shugo and New Hassa can't be rediscovered. Also, I liked the idea of it being a situation where someone was like, normally you would just erase the files. But fucking what if those things are backed up? But, you know, I'm kind of thinking Star Wars probably has the cloud. So, like, you know, you know how annoying it is when something saves like every 2 seconds, and then you're like, yeah, but that's not what I wanted to put in there. If you just went in and changed all the coordinates, and then the system overwrote all that, especially if you had like admin powers in the system. So anyway, that's Star Wars coming up. I want to do DC Showcase Presents again soon. Star Wars, but what if that was your? Yeah, it barely does have security cameras. Star Wars is weird that way. All right, I want to use the Great 10, and I want to go back. I want to use the Great 10.
Okay.
I love the Great 10. I think they're amazing visually, and I like the idea of a massive Chinese super team to rival the Justice League.
I should lend you the new Superman books.
Yeah, because apparently isn't the Chinese Superman like a part of the Great 10 now? Oh, it's like the Great 20 or whatever they are now.
Yeah, I can't remember if he ends up joining them or not, but it was an interesting set of books.
I like the Chinese Superman. I think that he's very interesting in that respect of like it has an Elseworlds feel that takes place in the DC universe proper. You have someone who has these powers who lives in a country that's completely different and has different values and perspective on the world. So that's interesting to me. I also want to go back and kind of mine 52 because I felt like there was a lot of things that like different writers during 52 like gave you like 2 panels of something cool happening, and then we immediately went back to other stuff.
Yeah.
Like the fact that there was a young Frankenstein in the Teen Titans. Like, what happened to that young Frankenstein character? Because I love DC's Frankenstein. Unapologetic.
Oh, yeah. Well, Frankenstein's great.
Yeah. Frankenstein Lives is amazing. So I want to like look back through there and maybe pluck some of those ideas that like Johns and Morrison and the other people who was Rucka, I think, was involved in that, or Brubaker, who left like stuff on the table that they never returned to.
Oh yeah, they just put tons of stuff out there.
Yeah, they. You're muted, Hess.
I'm just trying not to make noise in the background. There's so much meat on the bone of like, that's kind of my whole thing, right? Going back to creators that you feel like left a lot of story to tell. And
yeah. And I think that, especially for a game like that, where we can go wherever we want, being able to mine some of that is really important. It's the same thing with the 78 DC implosion. I think DC had so much cool shit that they planned on releasing. And apparently there's a trade now you can get that's all of those books.
There's a lot of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, or it came out in other forms. Yeah.
I kind of want to hit that. I kind of want to look at it. I don't have 52 or any of the Great 10 stuff anymore because, sold my comic collection to Colin, but I'm trying to get my hands on trades of it. Same thing with this Implosion of 78 trade that's out there. The other thing that struck me is there's a line in a Clutch song, because of course it's Clutch, because God damn it, I can't stop myself, because Neil Fallon can turn a phrase like nobody's business. I think it's in a song, DC Sound Attack, that says everyone needs a sinister hand. Because that song's got lines like, oh God, I gotta find it, so I can remember some of the stuff. Because it's about government, okay? Because
Sure.
Because of course it is. It's off the Earth Rocker album. I wish I could just find the lyrics. It's like the details aren't important. The public doesn't give a damn. But there's a line in there. It's like, oh God damn it, it's gonna bother me. Let me see if I can just grab the lyrics off something. And put them in the chat. Everybody needs a sinister hand. Naturally, no sympathizer. I'm a warmonger, baby. Gonna industrialize you.
Oh.
That's a good turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a warmonger, baby. I got blood in my eyes, and
I'm writing down warmonger mongoose. War mongoose.
War mongoose. I never wore no uniform except for the ballroom blitz. So that's like, I like the idea, there is no room for conversation here. I prefer the dimmest of intelligence. That shit's fucking great. So I was trying to think of something like in the DC realm that's government based that isn't Amanda Waller, who I think is kind of currently, they need to put back on the shelf for a while.
Yeah, they've turned her into the big bad and too much stuff.
I love Waller, and I especially like the Ostrander version of Waller.
Yes,
and the DC animated version of Waller is brilliant. Especially like the whole she helped make sure Bruce Wayne's DNA would be in the future, and that's how we got Terry McGinnis.
Yeah.
If you want to talk Batman Beyond and some kid that didn't realize, what if you did Batman, but it was Spider-Man and it was all of Spider-Man's villains? Like, everybody realizes that all Batman Beyond's villains are just Spider-Man villains, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not the first person on this. Just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. Go.
I mean, and our faux Fantastic Four as well. I mean, they basically, that is it's
you know my feelings on the Fantastic Four. Although it is funny that I was going through pictures I couldn't go through recently, and I found the one with the Mustang. I had that thing as my co-pilot, like on the front of my Mustang for a while.
Oh yeah. One thing I would say is the Fantastic Four has some of the best fucking villains.
All my friends love the Fantastic. All my closest comic love the Fantastic Four.
I always say with people, it's Fantastic Four. You got to find the right writer.
Yes.
If it's not the right creative team, it isn't good.
Yes.
Got to be like Wade and Winnego's run is so good.
You know my favorite. You know my favorite Mr. Fantastic is Stephen Colbert. Like
Dr.
the Venture Brothers
Dr.
was like,
Impossible?
yes, this is what I think of the Fantastic Four.
Dr. Impossible, yeah, it's pretty close. But I like even Hickman's, talking about a guy
like,
who's
just immaculate, like
a guy who's too smart for his own good. When you put on your chalkboard your mission statement, fix everything.
Yeah.
You are not you have crossed the Rubicon from being help to mankind in a potential hindrance. But I think that's the key is everybody else in that family are the brakes for Reed.
Yes.
From Sue to Johnny to Ben, but most importantly, Franklin. Because if Reed fucks up too much, Franklin just goes, "No, Dad, that doesn't exist anymore. I'm taking that away from you. Put the toys back in the toy box, Father." And even Doom, to an extent, is breaks on Reed.
Yeah.
Because I do think like one of the best characters Marvel has created in the last 20 years is the Maker. Because it is Reed with no breaks. And that makes that character fucking infinitely frightening. A character who's like, you know what? I am the smartest. And I am just unbridled creativity with no editor. I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want.
Look, you have my phone number. You could just call me. You don't have to be public on the internet like this. It's fine.
But so my thing when I think about this is who are some DC characters that are established who would look at that situation and they would say, we can't overtly fight superheroes. We've already found that doesn't work. Waller already tried it. Doesn't work. How do you insidiously undermine them? And not like the obvious way that Waller did in the last Absolute Power thing where she like used fake news and all that. I'm talking like you undercut them.
Sure.
And not in a short-term way like they did with Cadmus in the DC cartoon where they created basically the characters like Apache Chief analog and all that stuff who were all going to die really, within like 2 weeks. And they just kept repeating, making new clones of them, which I'll tell you what, for a kid's cartoon, especially Justice League Unlimited, it's not a kid's cartoon. So my thoughts were people like Eiling as the General.
Sure.
Because the General can stand toe-to-toe with people,
Yes.
And also, I can never decide whether the General is crazy or is just extremely pragmatic.
It varies a bit.
And also, technically, Eiling is just Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I also thought about Lois Lane's dad.
Yeah. I can't remember his first name now, but yes.
He's also a general, right?
Yes.
What if they were just called the Joint Chiefs?
That's what we used to call all the dudes at summer camp who used to sneak into the woods to smoke weed. We used to call them the joint chaplains.
The Joint Chiefs also sounds like a fucking great like garage band.
We had a boat. We had this little sunny sailboat that we fixed up. It was called Sea Money. I won't tell you what the C stands for.
I got
that. The whole song and stuff. So we fixed up this little sailboat. We would take it out on the water, be like, sailing on Sea Money. We were the Sea Money millionaires, the Joint Chiefs. This is what we did when we had no television and no women at summer camp.
I mean, again, it's
So give them a boat, and the boat is called "See You Next Tuesday Money."
I mean, I don't disagree with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has a boat. It's called Money.
All right. The Joint Chiefs. Who else, like, can we think of in like our DC knowledge, who would be kind of military associated? Not necessarily U.S. military. I'm thinking of this as like something that would be like a
Who's
larger.
responsible for KG Beast?
I think just the KGB.
I think it's just the Russian government. I can't think if there's any Russian analog for these.
I loved KG Beast and Omega Red as a kid. They seemed very villainous.
Well, and there was also the NKVD Demon.
NKVD Demon,
yeah, who was like KG Beast's like trainer, I
Etrigan?
want to say.
Was it like an Etrigan, Russian Etrigan?
No, he was just another dude like the KGB.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
sweet.
just an older guy.
No, perfect. Operatives. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
they were just operatives.
I've been thinking about a bird called Killer Condor because I joked with D that if you were gonna write like an R-rated villain to the Cyberhawks, they would be called the Cyber Predators, and they're all evil birds like Killer Condor, Endless War Eagle. Like I've been writing shit.
Did they? Okay, and I hate.
Isn't there like a Zoo Troopers like DC comic where they're commandos, but they're all like animals?
Yeah, that's
like food fighters.
Yeah, there's a really great comic out there called Justice League Unlimited, which is like what's it called? Justice League Unlimited, Matt? Where it's like the Justice League from all around the multiverse who handle multiversal problems, and one of the members is Captain Carrot.
Yeah.
And like
wait, of the food fighters?
No, of the Zoo Crew.
Yeah.
Oh, the Zoo Crew. Okay.
Yeah, he's basically a Superman Bugs Bunny.
All right.
And like he can't really die because of cartoon logic. Like every something horrible happens to him and he lives, he's just like, they're like, what happened? He's like, cartoon logic.
Are you familiar with the culture of Bozuzoku in Japan, the motorcycles?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes there's a lot of nationalism. It tends to be confused around the fact that like they're teenagers and they're trying to be scary, so they don't really like believe any of this kind of stuff. They're just putting like skulls or butterflies for tough boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I had this idea for like Bozuzoku means like wild running tribe or whatever, like like something like that in Japanese. So what if you took that zoo and made it like a zoo, and you just had like a fucking wild stable of crazy Japanese and street gangster inspired animals in that same vein of like your killer condors or your basically taking the idea that like if every if Earth was an experiment and like the insect planet and the mammal planet and the sea person planet sent people here to Earth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had like a Toku show where it's like, oh, the insects are coming to take it back. Nope, here come all the fucking evil birds. So that's kind of where my head's been at lately. So this gets right into the core meat of where my brain is going. That's why gorilla. Oh, what was it? It's like sea monkey. Like what was the GI Joe? Was it Clint? Who was it? Flint? Who was the sailor? Like you just have a sea monkey where he had the little sailor hat, and there you go. Boom. It's GI Joe. It's Power Rangers. So it's DC Comics. It's the we talked about like the Ghost character and the Justice Society of America. Me and Ben. So yes, this is where my head's at. Let's keep going on this.
So I also want to put. I hate the concept of this character.
This is literally within reach of my desk, right?
But I love what they turned him into. Egg Fu, also now known as Shang Tzu.
Yes, that was.
And there was a robot.
They really called him Egg Fu.
He was a giant egg, egg-headed yellow arrow.
Okay, all right.
He was
now he's just like an egg thing on like a bunch of little robot legs.
I like that.
He was a racist.
Chinese. Yeah, it was yellow. It was a yellow peril villain.
I love a mechanical spider thing though. I have several in the lab.
So apparently in the 70s, there was a robot version of that Wonder Woman villain called Dr. Yes.
Okay.
So I love the idea of Dr. Yes being involved in this, but it actually just being Shang Tzu.
I mean,
because I like that Shang Tzu had like this science island where
you're telling me he's basically this.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I told you. I have several in the bay. Like I have several spider creatures
with like a face, like a weird face and everything. He's an interesting looking character.
This is like an old Timex egg timer from the 90s. It looks like it's my thermo detonator, right?
Yeah, I
scanner too.
In the New 52, he was in Harley Quinn and was referred to as Eggy. I liked the weird 52 version where he was a peripheral part of the Great 10, but he controlled China's quote unquote science squad. And he had an island of scientists where he just kidnapped super scientists and put them there.
Yeah.
And it was like, you will do work for me and you've got so many days to complete a project. If you don't, I'm just going to blow you up.
I was gonna say, can I be that guy again? It's so funny you're saying that. So the basis behind this whole secret base idea is essentially, about Operation Paperclip.
Yep.
Historically. So the joke is that what if you had all of the Wednesday morning at a strip club rocket and genetic scientists from the Axis powers? So you had like the Italian bonga like Armando Rivedetti. Yeah, I built a rocket. It's fine. I built a rocket. I call it a monster. Yeah, I got all the science. So that's the whole thing. Is like I'm getting up. There's so many doctors in wrestling historically and currently, people with legit PhDs who get dropped on their heads and stuff. So the idea behind this base in the diegesis of the narrative is that it's just a bunch of bumbling Wednesday morning at a strip club, like Axis power scientists trying to clone wrestlers and figure out time travel and all that shit. And that's why everything's fucked up, because they're all like just the like, hey, Silvio Berlusconi of like fucking evil scientists.
I mean, yeah, and I think I think that's what appeals to me too, is like these weird kind of just like 2 to 3 steps removed from like the mainstream ideas that like I said, like germinated but never like came to fruition. So stuff like that like hits me on a level where I'm like, oh yes.
Well, just personally too, like I'll show you the pile. I'll go grab them. Personally some of the stuff I've been going through where it's like I was never really able to create fully because I could not like process or look at right fully. But I'll show you the stack of I've never thrown away a single like jot down notebook, so I'm ready to create because I have a stack of shit this high, right? Like, so that's why it's like we haven't even talked about the game I'm writing, but like I'd love to. You guys are basically now in everything that I work on, kind of like the car in all of what's his face's movies.
Sam Raimi.
Thank you.
What about Issa Rothko? I don't know what they ever did with that character, but I think she was a Brubaker character, right? Matt?
I don't recognize the name.
Greg Rucka. She is one of Ra's al Ghul's kids.
What about
oh yeah,
there has also been another test pilot of Hal Jordan's. What about Hal Jordan's test pilot buddy?
That's a good question. Let's look it up.
It's gotta be something. I don't know if you're looking for like actual.
I'm kind of looking for deep cuts because one of the people who play in our game or plays in that game is like even more of a deep cut person than Matt and I.
I was gonna say there's I don't know if he's shown up anywhere in a while, but there was the Giffen incarnation of the Suicide Squad that was probably led by the Unknown Soldier.
Ooh.
Disguising himself as Sergeant Rock.
What if it's just the Unknown Soldier?
Well, that's the thing. So Sergeant Rock was the Sergeant Rock had like returned after Our World's at War, and he's like, oh yeah, this is the new Suicide Squad team, and then like the last like issue,
I had some of those issues.
The last issue, it was like, oh no, there's the Sergeant Rock mask that's left behind, so it was probably the Unknown Soldier.
Would the Human Target, you think, fall into this?
Because
I do love me some Human Target.
I like the Human Target as well, but I mean,
but he's more of like he's
like a freelancer.
Yeah.
There's Nemesis, who is kind of a Human Target, but not.
I think they've really steered Nemesis towards being a very good character of late.
Yeah.
Like in his kind of, he had like a pretty big part of Dodson's Wonder Woman where he was like the love interest.
Yeah.
You said test pilots, Hess, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any kind of like, if Hal Jordan was a test pilot, technically, like Star Labs, that I'm early on my DC is better than Marvel journey. I've finally become an adult, right? Although I say that as I'm now trying to force this through a glove so I could turn this into a cool Talon. It glows in the dark.
Ooh.
Nice.
Halloween props from the dollar store. So that's part of what the Himbo Warlock stuff is going to be coming out is because I need to stay home and do a lot of stuff, and I've been doing a lot of stuff in the workshop anyway. I'm kind of fashioning myself as a bit of a pro wrestling prop master. So I have like 2 belts, 2 staves with effects, and a suit in process now, in addition to a bunch of Nerf guns for the movie.
Ooh.
Nice.
So I'm about to do a huge rollout of like all of my interior design projects because I'm working on the house, what I'm doing in the yard. And I don't know that I can call it this yet, but I'm going to be offering 4th of July weekend an Air D&D experience where you come out to the Berkshires and I do kind of like a mixed LARP. I cook for you.
That's a cool idea.
I set up the woods. There's like a little like cartouche that I'm painting and carving out of stone. I'm going to try to do like an outbuilding cabin eventually, but it'll be like a cast with some actors, props, nice big wood table, swords, nonsense, blah, blah. But yeah, so a lot of what I'm going to be doing out of the house going forward is like sci-fi, fantasy, and pro wrestling, like experiences, prop making, parties, that kind of stuff.
Have you ever heard of a role-playing game called Worldwide Wrestling?
Yeah, actually, that's ND Paoletta. He just put out a new one that my friend Ed actually did some work on it, and his payment was getting me a copy, which is
I did some submissions. I did some submissions for the second book.
It's the occult one that's coming out now, right? Like he's got a new game coming. They got a new game coming out.
I think so. Yeah, I love their work. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
So my thought
online.
My thought is, what if Carol Ferris has a brother who worked at Ferris? It was, like you said, was a test pilot.
Yeah, like, there's got to be a number 2. There's a guy on Star Trek that they cast as like a swashbuckling space pirate, and he was actually the dude that lost out on Riker to Jonathan Frakes. He was awesome. Eventually on Once and Again. So think about like that idea of like he was almost Hal Jordan, he was almost Green Lantern. But
also, like all of these guys so far, all these characters either are primarily government.
Right.
He would be like your
paramilitary contractor, your Blackwater. Yeah.
And I think we go with Gil because of Gil Kane. So are we all agree?
Oh, yeah. Gil. Slimy ass Gil.
Plus, it's like you said, it's kind of a slimy name.
It thinks fish. You think of like a big open. When you hear Gil, you just think, sorry, all the Gils of the world.
Also, utilizing Mount Thunder, which was something from Extreme Justice, I think, which was like their mountain fortress. I like the idea of them using that.
You know me in a fortress, a base, a cabal.
Well, I mean, we've got our Chinese representative, we've got a Russian representative, as well as League of Shadows, since Nisa is one of Ra's al Ghul's kids. Now, I don't know if you either of you seen this, but there's a new Injustice Society now, and it's led by oh gosh, and all of a sudden I can't remember her name. She was the leader of the Secret Six. I don't know why they've Scandal Savage.
Yeah, she's Vandal's daughter.
Yeah, she is now the leader of the new Injustice Society, which to me is weird because I thought that's a weird spot for her to be in. But I like those legacy villains because I feel like it also touches upon. I like Sam Lane's perfect because he wouldn't be touching Superman. We would be dealing with our characters and other things. I like the idea of these characters who are from different parts of the DC universe who allow you to brush up against other things. So, because right here you got the General, who's Captain Atom or Justice League enemy. Sam Lane is Superman. Shang Tsu is Wonder Woman. Miso Ricardo is Arrow and Batman.
There's if you wanted to bring in there's Carol Ferris's dad, Carl, who tried to take back over the company after letting her run it, and then
C or K?
C.
Okay, I think we go with Carl Ferris. I like that idea.
Yeah,
and then we have
Gil,
he tried to take back over And then so I guess let's see here.
This is turning into a league of evil dads.
He took a solar powered jet.
Happy fun.
And tried to kill this guy, and then he suffered a mental breakdown, went into the hospital, and then died of a sudden heart attack, which it seems very suspicious. Okay, so there was a manhunter that was trying to take over Ferris aircraft, and that was what drove Carl over the edge.
Was that during Millennium?
Yes.
Okay. I faintly remember this. Very faintly.
Yeah.
What if Gil is like Carl's? Yeah, I'm assuming Carl has been married 6 times. He seems like a married 6 times guy.
Well, he does.
Christine
Ferris is still alive, at least from what I can see, and had mental issues and went to Europe to recover, and then eventually came back. So what
if Gil is like a bastard son? Yeah, like a bastard son.
Half brother, half sister, or whatever on either side.
Who Carl is grooming to be like the person who takes the company away from Carol. So I'm also kind of looking at the Joint Chiefs right now as almost like, what is it, the Cabal that Marvel had?
Yeah.
Which is like the evil Illuminati, but this is way lower tier than taking over the world.
Sure.
So we've literally got a Green Lantern villain, a Batman villain, a Wonder Woman villain, a Superman villain, and ostensibly a Justice League villain.
Yeah.
Who would be a good villain? I kind of feel like going with the big 7 makes sense.
Okay.
Who would be a good Flash villain? We can't use Vandal Savage because Vandal's doing his own shit. I think he's like the mayor, or he's like the chief of police in Gotham right now.
He is the current police commissioner, yes.
Yeah, which is an amazing turn of events. I do enjoy.
Well, the Court of Owls, I think, was involved there.
Mirror Master?
I'm trying to think of a villain who's less hands-on.
Yeah.
Because I think is one of them the OG Mirror Master's dead. Are there any retired Flash villains?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can find here.
Because I like the idea of a Mirror Master, or one of those Mirror Master characters who are a legacy character who's the OG, and they're I retired. I'm not involved in that.
I like a reinvention too. I like the idea of wanting to kind of come back and give in, but not staying retired in that way. Does that make sense?
Well, even I like the idea of someone who's oh, I'm out the game, but is technically pulling the strings on a bunch of the lesser known Flash villains, doing the whole well, back in my day, we just would have done this. Being in a mentor role and being oh, all I need is a cut. Because I think this is something Marvel does way, way, way better than DC. They have characters like the Tinkerer who are involved in villainy, but they don't get their hands dirty. They're oh, I just supply equipment and shit like that. I don't kill people. I just give the gladiator, buzzsaw blades that kill people.
Yeah, you need someone to go to first to get the information of what's going on, right? Yeah.
Now, what's the name? Arcade's another good example.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't fight people. I just make giant death traps.
Mm-mm. Let's see if I can.
Yeah, because I think that would be kind of a cool thing to have somebody who's maybe the Fiddler.
I mean, not that whether they're alive or not matters.
I think they have a daughter that's got the game.
Yeah, there's a daughter. So this is a real weird one, but I like it.
I mean, hey, Mitch pulled his mask off and was fucking Chuck Tingle. It doesn't get better than that.
I like that it's super, super obscure and that it's kind of a blank slate.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, Matt. That is great. Is this his only appearance? Was in this Hostess?
From what I can tell, yeah.
What is it now?
It's in our private chat, so you should be able to go to it.
Yeah.
There is a thing from Matt that is a old
oh yeah,
Hostess thing that is amazing.
Oh shit! No, yeah, that's it. Bureaucratic bat. Oh my god!
All right, perfect. I love this a lot.
Yes.
All right, so now we need one for Aquaman, and
he's just
Martian
constantly
Manhunter.
eating like Brad Pitt. Like his mouth is just full of cherry pies.
The only thing I worry about is we are super low. We're a lot of white dudes. A lot of like.
That makes sense for what you're going for, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
but I also like the fact, like, you know, Nisa has control over, and this is the thing, like being able to say, like, she's controlling the current. God, what was the program KG Beast was a part of? It was not just the KGB. What program was KG Beast a part of? Pratt of? Yeah, he's a Chris Pratt of.
Yeah.
Which actually works. Also, I figured something out the other day, Matt, and feel free to correct me or Hess if you disagree. Oh, and it just ran away. God damn it. I had it and I was super excited to be like, hey, am I wrong here? I forgot what it was. God damn it. I hate my brain.
God damn it, Chris Pratt.
Yeah. It was something slightly related to Chris Pratt, I guess. I don't know. I'm really mad at myself when that happens.
Happens to the best of us.
It happens for me all the time. I think I said this story earlier this week. I had to gas up my wife's car, and it took 3 different gas stations because the first gas station I couldn't figure out how to, with her car, open the gas can, that gas thing. And all you do is flip it open. I just couldn't figure it out. And the second one I went to, I couldn't figure out how to put my credit card in the machine. And the third one, I sat in the car for 15 minutes figuring out the steps. And then I did it, and it was fine. But it was like I had a long day, and I was.
Oh, yeah, trust me. Yep,
and,
I hear you.
Sometimes my stupid CTE gets so much better than me than I would like to admit. Would lockup also be maybe something of this?
I mean, I know you're a fan of
Master Jailer. So I'm thinking like maybe the Master Jailer. I'm going to put him in here.
Master Jailer. No, I can't get over this bureaucratic bat business. This is great.
Is it rat or bat? I might have looked at
it's rat. It's rat. It's rat. I just can't read, but it looks like he has a gun that shoots bubble tape. Like it's red tape, right? His gun shoots red tape, but it looks like fruit by the foot.
Yes.
So there's something there, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm trying to figure out like if there was something in particular where the KG Beast was involved in. Well, it doesn't have to be though either. It could just be a part of the League of Assassins. So anyway, I think we should probably like.
Well, all right. So there's a. Let me see what I can find out here about this guy. Yeah, there's Admiral Strom, who's an Aquaman villain, but he's dead, and was working for aliens.
Oh, League of Shadows, isn't it? This would be there was like an enemy of the Outsiders. It was like a big oil guy. I can't remember what his name was. He wore like a top hat.
Duke of Oil.
Duke of Oil, yeah.
Yeah, they weren't really digging.
Those the nuclear family, they were also enemies.
Yes.
We're gonna put them down here too. For some reason, I have all that weird outsider shit stuck in my head, which makes sense since the end of the episode. You guys became the outsiders. So maybe it's like all the weird Jim Aparo drawn stuff popped in my head. Okay. So we've got like U.S., China, Russia. It should be USSR because that doesn't really kind of exist anymore. Military contractors. We need a Japanese bad guy. We need equal representation of bad guys. Preferably like some type of Japanese bad guy we can tie to Martian Manhunter or to Aquaman.
So I didn't know about this because I don't read Aquaman stuff ever, but there's an organization called Nemo that wants to like take over all the world's oceans, and they've been a cabal since like the 1800s.
Okay. Okay. Is it so? It's an acronym.
Yes, the Nautical Enforcement of Cosmic Order.
I love
Black
it.
Manta has led it at some point.
Okay, I'm trying to think of someone we could have be a leader of that who, because I think that's perfect. That's a good thing to like wrap into a situation we can use, but it's finding a character who already exists. Preferably a Japanese character that already exists. Matt, your sound is bad right now. Like you're not coming in.
Yeah, it's because freaking fandom just slows my shit down so much. I'm out of there now.
Yeah, what's up with fandom being like that? It similarly with DC Database. It just is there a good Captain or Shazam villain who would fit this category? As far as like, yeah, because there was a lot of racist Captain Adam villain. Captain Marvel villain. Like there was so many racist Captain Marvel villains. They were like, "Hey, Wonder Woman, hold my beer."
Yeah.
Well, some of that's because of the time period.
Yes, but
and there's a bunch who never like. There's a Captain Marvel villain called Arson Fiend.
Yeah,
I wonder what that guy does. Also, it could just be Mr. Mind because I love Mr. Mind.
Yes, but I'm gonna go deeper than that.
Yeah. But I do. Matt. He's a little worm guy.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love Mr. Mind, but
Zazzo. I'm familiar with you, Zazzo, but now I want to be familiar with you. He's like a Mr. Mixaplick villain, style villain. There's all those characters like Iback and stuff like that. And of course, Captain Nazi. It's on the 10, guys. He's a Nazi.
Sure.
What if it was Mr. Atom? So I like the idea of a robot with an atomic brain sitting in a meeting like this in a 3-piece suit.
Yeah, that's fun.
Just talking about like, the exploitation of the oceans. All right. I think we'll use Mr. Atom. I think it's a really weird kind of visual vibe.
If you're looking, if you want a racist Japanese villain, there's Nippo the Nipponese.
I'm not going that far. I'm the same guy
really
who changed the character formerly known as Gypsy. I changed their names because that bothered me so much.
Yeah, no, you don't want. Yeah,
that's not okay with me. And how DC hasn't changed that yet is beyond me.
I don't get it.
It's like, DC, and that's a good character. Just change the name. There's so many other names you can use. I can't. What name did we give her?
I think you just called her Roma.
Roma. Yeah, Roma. Good name. All right. One more. We need a good. Can we just use Duke of Oil? No, can't use Duke of Oil from Manhunter. We need a good Martian Manhunter villain.
You want a Martian Manhunter? Oh yeah.
That's needle in a haystack. I mean, here we hit Aquaman and Shazam at the same time. I feel pretty good about that.
You want a good Martian Manhunter villain, so does DC.
Oh! That's why they used what Morrison used Gem Son of Saturn in his run as the Martian Manhunter villain.
Yeah.
Because he was like, there are no good Martian Manhunter villains. Although Ostrander made a couple interesting ones.
I'm sure there's characters you could, mess with.
All right, let's see if we can find anything here. Yeah, Malefic, I think, was the one that Ostrander came up with. I've always kind of liked Bete Noir. I also always like Dr. Trap, just because visually he looks neat.
Yeah, Dr. Trap is good.
That's what they call me in college now. What?
Should we go Dr. Trap? I mean, I like that giant trap jaw mouth thing he's got going on. Although I'm trying to figure out. I also like Libra. I don't know if
a big.
Libra's got a fucking look though that I.
Libra's look is. But
didn't we talk about using the Getaway King at one point too?
Yes, or you did, or mentioned him, or something.
I think we made like a huge list at one point of like, here's weird stuff we want to use. Professor Arnold Hugo. I don't want to use an alien as the key, which is really hard.
Yeah, that does kind of.
Captain Destiny. That's interesting. Who's Giggs? I'm kind of one thing I'm kind of thinking about is there a rogue checkmate agent?
I mean, probably.
There's gotta be. The only reason my thing with Dr. Trap is he is so much basically kind of a Jigsaw meets the Joker type of character.
Yeah.
That it kind of goes against like this doing things behind the scenes. Did
Who's the poisony Wonder Woman villain?
Dr. Poison.
Dr. Poison.
Yeah, that's a thought. I don't know. When I conjure things like this, you really want that Frau Farbissina. You want, if there's not at least one fucking eye patch, you're doing it wrong.
You're not wrong. Well, that's why I feel like.
So I made an eye patch the other day. Ben knows that I've been sending. I have the giant ghost costume test stuff too. Ben knows I've been sending him stuff, but I made an eye patch that lights up the other day, and I was like, "So, babe, we just doing Locutus of Borg or what?" That's the fun part is I don't want anybody to have to play any characters I created, but like I created so many, and I want to see if I can trick people into seeing which ones I'm actually portraying or not. But there's like 10 characters I would absolutely be.
So Libra is a prophet of dark side, and I don't really want to use that. So my thought is like maybe if you can find an interesting checkmate like agent that's like rogue or is or like could be someone who's like spying within checkmate for these folks, but someone who's like been their like main focus is like, hey, I know that this guy's the Martian Manhunter and I've been tracking him through all these identities. Maybe that's like the motivating factors, like you're among us already. How many others we know Superman's an alien. We know that the white Martians have attacked. Why is this Martian different than these other Martians? So trying to figure out like a character kind of like that, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not sure who that would be. So we're just going to leave a note of checkmate agent, either rogue or double agent with grudge against aliens. Because I really like the version of the general from the Justice League cartoon a lot.
Yeah.
That version I like a lot, and I think you can do some mixing and matching with the appearances he's had in DC Comics. Like I also really enjoy the appearance he had during Morrison's run where they have to push him out of an airlock and Orion loses his dog in the process. So all right, let's move on for a little bit. Also, we've been at it for a while. I'm sure Matt's running out of time. I gotta find a better system for Oz. That Oz book I have is system agnostic. And by the way, I showed it to my sister-in-law who is an Oz fanatic, and she lost her shit to the point where she was like, I would play in any game you're going to use this book in. But I need a simpler system. D&D, even a streamlined D&D is too much. Too many fiddly.
It's a lot. It can be a lot, yeah.
Especially for a setting that is ostensibly a city crawl and is a politic-based game, where you kind of have to build in the adventure a little bit, which I felt like we did pretty well. I want something that's a little less, I guess. I thought about using the basic role-playing system, which is the system that Call of Cthulhu and Pendragon are based on, because it's all percentages. You have hundreds of skills, but they're all just percentages. But then I was like, that's a lot of shit to look at too. That thing looks like a fucking spreadsheet. So I got to find a system for that. And then also answering that question, is it an isekai game? Because I think the way I ran it was you're playing yourselves in Oz. You can die in Oz. It doesn't kill you in the real world. You just end up back in the real world and you don't remember Oz, and you can probably never get back. But if you live and you leave, you remember Oz and you can get back. So.
All right, I think I might have found your Martian
shit.
villain here, because it's Justice League Task Force, which I know you have a penchant
I have a weird love for.
He showed up in one issue, vowed vengeance on Martian Manhunter, and then never appeared again.
Do we know anything about him? Like his
No.
name or anything like that?
We know his name, and we know his image. I put it in the private chat.
It's just Osprey?
All we know about him is that he's the Osprey and he hates Martian Manhunter, and he looks like that. He
looks like a Hawk and Dove villain.
There's a different one. There's two.
Oh,
there's a newer one that is a Hawk and Dove villain. I don't know if the link I sent you is.
Oh, it gives you.
I'm gonna say the Oliver Truly one. It looks hard as hell.
Yeah, with the flaming wings and everything.
Ooh, that's kind of got a little bit of Azrael to it.
Yes, and so literally, he is literally a blank slate. Other than that, he exists and hates Martian Manhunter,
and we don't know why.
Right.
How about that?
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
it's really just Will Ospreay.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
He's a cocky prick. Will work well. All right. No, I love that idea of you could even say that version of Osprey, Agent Osprey, has been both the Ospreys previously.
No, yeah.
Or that Agent Osprey is a title; it's not a person.
Yeah.
So there's been multiple Agent Ospreys. Also, I like the idea that they're in Checkmate. Although I'm not sure what the secret agency shit is going on in DC after Leviathan.
There is a new Checkmate that was formed from the remains of Argus, apparently, but I'm not currently.
What happened to Sasha Bardreau? She was like the fucking character in those books, and then I don't think they've done anything with her.
Well, because she was very much Greg Rucka's character. So I think, like Rucka
She's
tends
a great
to
character
and then put her away.
Okay, that makes sense.
I
love that character.
Let's see here.
She's got a really cool look. She's very much in the kind of same vein of Cameron Chase as, again, a character living in the DC universe, not someone who is involved directly in the punching.
I mean, I'm sure she'll be back here soon because I guess she's in season 2 of Peacemaker. So,
yeah, I saw that. That's why it kind of popped in my head. Was like,
yeah, she hasn't really shown up much since, the 20. It's been a while.
Yeah, I thought I'd seen that, which is sad because I very much enjoyed her as a character. All right, better systems for Oz. Need to look up and find options. I also just need feedback on that game. Did it go well? I think the people who played it enjoyed it, but I need to figure out people who watched it during Extra Life if it was an enjoyable experience. I thought there was some weird, fun stuff in it. Because I think Oz is a very weird, wonderful setting. Also, the guy who made that book and the Neverland book just came out with a Wonderland book.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, I really want to do Neverland as a weird, creepy thing. But the idea,
Peter Pan's my shit. So if you ever do that one, I'd be there for.
I have that book both physically and a digital copy of. And the thing I love about this guy's books is they're system agnostic. They're made for you to be able to take the information, and he does a lot of research. The Oz book is like 300 pages. It's huge, and it's beautiful. God, the books are pretty. So I just need feedback on that. Back.
I'm going to pose a question to you.
Oh.
There is one game I've always wanted to play. I've never seen it played. I don't know how good it is. I don't know how great the system is. It seems complicated, but I don't want to learn it. I want to play in it. I don't want to DM it. How do we get a Star Trek game? They make a game. There's a tabletop Star Trek game. UK company makes it. I want to play in a Star Trek tabletop.
So one thing I would suggest is maybe when one of us runs a game called Lasers and Feelings, which is basically a Star Trek game.
Perfect.
And it is a 2-stat game. You have lasers and you have feelings.
Yep.
And it is it was the guy who made it was like, I wanted to play Star Trek, but I didn't want to roll a bunch of dice. So it's a very role play heavy game. It's a 1-page game.
Yep.
And I use it to hack things all the time. It's a one-shot style game. But you can definitely string it out. The other game I would recommend, and I've wanted to do this for a really long time, is there's a solo RPG called Captain's Log.
Ooh, I've heard about that one, yeah.
Yeah, they recommend playing with a bunch of friends, and you just write logs, like you're the captain of a starship, and then you interact by trading logs. So you can build off one another. It's a very interesting single-player game. But I can't think of who ran Lasers and Feelings last on a stream. Maybe I
don't know. It sounds great though. I'm in on that.
It's a fun single
Kate's Peter Pan, Star Trek, Dungeons and Dragons. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean it was that was the hack of that you used for the DC game.
Yeah, I used a hack of Lasers and Feelings to run DC. So yeah, it's a very hackable game with very little effort, which I love.
Would that work for Oz? I don't know.
I think it needs a little bit more because I think it needs something. It needs. Sorry, I'm trying to grab something here. Hess, I put something in the chat for you.
Great. Perfect. Thank you. I was also going to say, so before I go, because I should go, I don't want to be that friend who preens and monopolize the conversation in pieces. I am going to need some voice folks, maybe for some trailers or some shorts coming up, because I have, hopefully within the next day or two, I'm still figuring out a vehicle, etc. But a couple more hours working in the basement, and I can start showing off props and set and storyline and characters. And basically also announce that I'm open for business again in all the ways in which I'm open for business. So
nice.
Yeah. So I took an extra week, and hopefully the Patreon folks won't be mad at me. But it just seems like I've had a lot of like, oh, we got to start over, do it again right. So now we get to do it right. And merch is going to come out and packages are going to go out. And, you know, we live to survive another day. So I appreciate it.
You know, if I can make any recommendations with that, right about the stuff that didn't go well. Like, hey, here's what I
have a whole thing. I want to move forward out of that. My whole first 41 years of my life.
Don't step into my holes. Make your own fucking holes.
Yeah. No, exactly. Well, that's what Himbo Warlock is about a little bit too. Is that how do you navigate a world that is terrible and you're damaged? You're just trying to have fun. But also, you have all those kind of proclivities in your life where, like, a lot of the traditional therapies and medications and things like that, like, are more dangerous than a help for you. So how do you figure out how to navigate your life and stay busy and stay positive and have things to get up in the morning for without, you know, medicating yourself to death either legally or illegally? Because even the stuff you get from the government or the doctor or whatever is just as dangerous. So, yeah, thank you for understanding. That's kind of why I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do. But I think that there are more people that are too afraid to get off the couch and be more present in spaces and have to feel like they have to create their own niches. And I think that there are more of us than there are of, you know, the villains that we talk about that have their own machinations, and that even ourselves can be that Reed Richards that says, you know, without breaks, you know, who are we? And so hopefully with the balance of my life, I will try to play in the spaces like this that I've always wanted to play in. And elevate them to that Ken Burns thing you're talking about, which is my goal for wrestling. Is like, wrestling should be taken just as seriously as baseball or jazz. And I think same thing with tabletop stuff. These are the spaces that I've been in my whole life that I've been afraid to fully participate in. So, yeah, I'm actually really excited. So if anybody feels like they're ready to get off the couch or want to try something new, very low stakes with the weirdest fucking Starship Captain ever, you know, have them reach out. I'm building a little world with whatever time I have left on this earth, and we're going to do radio plays and children's books. And I'm, you know, Swan Spear is the big Clone High D&D module I'm writing.
I will I'll tell you this. You find a couple people you want to play
yeah,
with, and you give me some dates, and I will do Lasers and Feelings for you and who you want to play with. I love
that. Let's do it for Extra Life. I know you guys don't want me like. Wheels is fucking dead set against me doing 48 hours of Fallout. He doesn't even want me to do 24. I've always wanted to do it, and I know I can do it. I love David Blaine. I love endurance challenges. I want to pile a Code Red. I want to pick the most random, worst fucking build, and I want to be awake for, like, you know.
So here's something else I'll point out. I was talking about, and this is the first thing I think I've talked about this. So the place I work is a nonprofit.
Right.
And their goal is to end homelessness. Well, the thing about that is we're the only place in Minnesota, and I think in most of the Midwest, that, like, when you come in, we're not just a storehouse. As long as you're doing the work built upon the plan that we put together, you get to stay. So it's a 30-day stay. And then at the end of 30 days, we look at your file and where you're at. And then if you're doing well and doing the plan, then you get to stay another 30 days.
I worked a very similar job.
And it's, to me, completely unconscionable that we're the only place that does that.
Yeah.
So one thing, I talked to the guy who's in charge of our fundraising, and I talked about Extra Life, and I said, what if I wanted to do something like Extra Life for the organization? And he was like, that'd be fucking awesome, but like you have to do it on your own. Like,
yeah,
and you can't be like, hey, I'm doing this as this. It's like you can be like, I work there, but yeah,
this is independent of the organization.
Yeah, I'm a case manager there, but I can't, but he's like, we can help you with resource stuff, and then you can set it up so donations go directly there, and they would be tax deductible, just like Extra Life.
This is exactly what I did for the library, and then the White Wolf gave me this whole idea where it's like there is so much available humanities grant money if you know how to write a grant that can make a difference in your block.
That's kind of what one thing I've talked about that I want to learn how to do is write grants.
Yep,
because
let's get in it, brother.
Because we ran into a thing on Friday where a young lady is supposed to have money from CPS for transportation, and her case manager is sitting on it, and she's like, well, we'll just do it you can get reimbursed by CPS. And she's like, I'm fucking homeless.
Yeah.
How can I get reimbursed? I don't have the money to pay for transportation now.
Don't think. Yeah.
I've been working for a month now, but my job is in St. Paul. The place I am in shelter is in fucking Anoka.
Oh yeah, that's
so on weekends, transportation won't get me back to the shelter because I work till 11 p.m. And when you come back to our shelter, the doors close at 11.
Yeah.
You come in after 5 p.m., you're going to get a breathalyzer. Anytime you come in, you're getting fucking metal detect wanded. So, it's like there's pretty strict standards. So we had to find out, because we're at the end of the fiscal year, there's no budget for it. But I kept thinking, where's the grant money for this? Like, there should be a grant for this. And the person who does that stuff was like, hey, I'll tell you a little secret. There's grant money out there for it. But you know what the grant money's for? Bicycles. And I'm like, that's great. But if you're like all the way across the metro, and also it's the fucking winter time, it doesn't matter. And she was like, yep, exactly. So if I can find a way to like figure out how to write grants, or at least propose grants in a way where our grant writers can take it and run, like that's shit I want to do. Like,
it's easier than you think. That's what I want to do too.
The only grant I've ever done was when I was in Duluth, and we were coaching football. Our team was the poorest by far because we're in the poorest areas of Duluth. Kenwood Chester for life, baby. For life. We got a grant from the NFL and got all new equipment.
No shit.
The NFL gave us so much shit. And the grant writing was not difficult, but it was just like, also they were at the time were pushing that. Like they were pushing that stuff. Sure. Also, hey, coach there for 5 years. We lost 2 games in 5 years. And they were all in the same, or all in the first year. Everyone hated us.
What was the mascot? I'm obsessed with mascots and livery.
We were the Kenwood Chester Raiders, which was
that.
hard for me as a Chiefs fan.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like what I want to do is be able to do something in the summer for 24 hours or 48 hours or so. Some of it pre-taped, so it's not, James and I and Matt and other people and talking like going hard for like 48 hours or 24 hours at our age is like, I take a bunch of meds, and this year I had to take meds at 3 a.m. and then take meds at 7 a.m. And my meds you can't do that with. And I was a fucking car wreck for like 3
No, I
days.
understand that. I'm just saying it's my body and my choice. So
it is.
If you want me,
But I think
I'm going to freeze myself in a block of ice in the middle of, the Twin Cities.
So one thing I think about that is like being able to set it up so you can do that through us.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Right. You don't have to be awake at all. I just want to be the Riddler for 48 hours.
But I want to do something like that in the summer, this coming summer, and I'm thinking about some different things. One thing I've talked about a couple times, and I think maybe something I want to do is I want to do the 24-hour speed run of D&D.
Oh, hell yeah.
Meaning I want to take people from first level to 20th level in 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I want to do some, and James's idea of this, which I also love, but I'm not sure how feasible it is to go backwards.
Oof.
Start at 20th and go all the way down to first.
That sounds like Mad Mage to me.
Yeah, it could be very interesting, could be very fun. I'm already thinking about like ways to do it. I think I'll probably just do a mega dungeon. Yeah, I think that's something cool. I think, being able to brainstorm ideas, especially for charity, because one thing James has, honestly taught me over the last 10 years is like, you have social capital, you have those things. Why are we not using them to better other people?
Yeah.
And that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be remembered for in the end, is like, oh, that dude, he helped other people, like
it's all you have. It's all you have at the end of the day, man. You can't take it with you.
I think getting together and coming up with ideas like that is really cool. So it's something I want to do more of. And I know when James has time and energy, because my God, that dude
he's got a lot going on right now.
Yeah, no, he really does. That's why I don't call him. No, I really am though. I'm trying to develop this trick for February. I hope it will pull off. I'm calling it Caravaggio's Kissing Booth, and it's basically like the painting of Saint Sebastian with all the arrows and the death of Rasputin. So it's like 4 magic tricks at once. I'm gonna get like shot, burned, like hung and crushed, like poisoned. Yeah. It's gonna be like a big, sexy build a kissing booth. The way I want to end it is I get wood chipped into the back of a truck, and then I appear with several various gendered people at the end. So I get chopped up in a wood chipper, and I appear in the pile of wood chips in like a sexy orgy way. So we are working.
I don't know what Twitch or YouTube standards would say about that, but I'm fucking in.
Oh no, it'll be private for a party. It'll be a private performance for a Valentine's.
It's an interesting idea. I like.
Yeah. No, I'm getting into like a lot of the Jim Rose sideshow circus. Part of what I'm developing is part of like the events and marketing and parties and stuff. Is like, I could definitely cook for you, but I could also pop up like a magic show or a Nerf war or a go-kart race or, you can get metaphysical silent bar mime where he's like, you just pull cards out of shit and you do fucking silent jokes. Or you can get me swallowing swords and, sexy, orgy Houdini cabinet.
You were talking about doing the D&D Air D&D thing.
Yeah. I want to do that in July.
Have you ever heard of a game called Dread?
No, I don't think so.
It's a horror game. It's a horror one-shot game. There are no dice. It's Jenga towers are your random.
Oh, that'd be fun for a place like this too.
I would get it
90 square miles, like 90-minute drive in America.
You just put Jenga towers everywhere.
Oof.
And people pull every time they want to do something. And when you cause the tower to go down, you die. But you tell us how you died.
Oh, I love that shit.
It's a great game. It is a fucking phenomenal game. But using it in that way would be fascinating. Because sometimes people will be like, will knock the tower over on purpose to reset it because they see that like people are going to die. So they'll just go, because you're basically playing a horror movie more or less.
Right.
They'll just go, okay, I'm going to take the bullet on this. It's super fun. I've run a zombie version of it, and it's wide open. There are no like modules. They just go forth and cause havoc. I've played in one that was loosely based on Moby Dick. I have run one
inspired by the mountains of the Berkshires, by the way. That's where the movie. Well, when I was so D was at a thing at Arrowhead, which is the Melville estate up here. And when you go there, there's like, you can't have radios, you can't smoke, you can't drink, but there's like fields and all this stuff. So she was there for a meeting for Mass Humanities in the library and Rev 250, I think, which is the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. And I sat in the fields looking at these like shacks and stuff, but the outline of the Berkshire Mountains is the outline of Moby Dick, the whale, like on this, like Herman Melville wrote Moby Dick here. Wow. In the Berkshires. And so the idea for Grand Crew and Paranormal and the film and all subject to change and all that stuff, like the idea for the film and the promotion and the studio came from going and having nothing to do but sit and write at Melville's estate. But Moby Dick came from the Berkshires, and the outline of the Berkshire Mountains is the outline of the whale.
Yeah, that's
so one thing that I did with it when I ran as well was I just used the framework of like a more modern version of oh god dang it, brain shit.
Sounds like a great game. I'm sorry I keep getting you off track on
this.
No. Weird connection though.
God damn it. I hate when this happens.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No. It's not your fault. It's like I can't. So I lose. I just lose things. They just go away. And it really, really,
So you were
really
talking about Jenga after I initially you were talking about the Air D&D thing, and you're talking about Dread and Moby Dick and having the piles of Jenga tiles around and such like that.
Yeah. Oh, there's a story that I love, and I can think of the name of, which really upsets me, called "The Whisper in Darkness" by H.P. Lovecraft. So the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society, did a movie version of it. And they did a movie of Call of Cthulhu, and they made them period accurate. So Call of Cthulhu movie is silent, black and white. I think these are both on Tubi right now. I bought the DVDs for both of them. Whisper Out of Darkness looks like an RKO picture. It's shot in that style, but they had to change the ending because if you've ever read the story, nothing really happens. It's a conversation between two people in a room.
Yeah.
Who one is not what they appear to be. But I did I did a version of that in a more modern thing of people go out to investigate weird shit that's washed up on the river in the Appalachian Mountains. They find far more than what they bargained for. And I used the Dread for that. I think I called it Strange Eons.
Well, I like that.
But it was very, very, very fun. In fact, I think I got David Richardson to make music for it. I'm pretty sure I got Dave to do the music for it. This is before streaming, before we were doing streaming shit. This is 15 years ago.
Wow.
Would be 15. It would be it's pre-Extra Life shit in my basement. Because we did have the house. So I don't know. I can't redo time. It's a flat circle.
Yes.
But I think doing something like that where you're you're talking about, you have set pieces where you're okay, this is going to be a scene. Kind of if you need to try out the Zone, Hess, at least go look at it. It's a storytelling game. Has all the tools to play it online. The guy who made the game literally just made a website where you can just play it. You don't have to have any of the actual material.
Well, that's great.
Because they were hey, I never had money.
I was gonna say Yosoi broke. Yeah, that's a lot of things. Have you read this? No, because I could not afford comics.
Yeah, but it's a game sort of based on stuff like Roadside Picnic or Annihilation. It's people going into an area that has changed, knowing they're not coming out. There's no winners.
Have you never played Paranoia? I want to play Paranoia.
Yeah, I love Paranoia.
I can't run game though. I think
I love Paranoia. Traveler, the same thing.
I've never played Traveler. I really want to play Traveler.
Traveler, a game where you can die during character creation.
Yeah, yeah. I want stakes, bitch. We're at a table.
Those two games are something else when they're run very well. So anyway,
I like the wood. I've set forest fires with fireworks accidentally. I need stakes at the gaming table. We're indoors.
I think that coming up with stuff like that or using Dread in that type of way would be amazing, because the intensity of coming to a table in the middle of the woods when you're in this activity and it's lit by candles and it's here we're doing this little scene and everything you want to physically do as a character, you have to pull a Jenga tile.
I love the efficacy of what the internet allows us to accomplish in games. In terms of setting a scene or using music or working with people across the country and things like that. But there's just something to be said for playing in person and being able to feel the hairs of the player next to you stand up at the same time as yours does when you hit the right thing. You know what I mean?
There's an intensity that is hard to replicate.
If you have a crackling fire in front of you, or you have a really good stew, or I picked out the kind of dark beer that you would drink if you're doing a kind of campaign in a certain, you know what I mean? That's the kind of experience I want to bring you. If you're going into Dwemer Caves, you're going to drink a fucking Trostin while you eat your meal while I blow your mind. You know what I'm saying? And then my friend is going to come out of the woods with a crossbow, right? The idea is that up here, the idea with the studio is we're going to turn this into a place where you come. If you're a broken arrow like me, do you want to rent it while we go away for 3 months? Come make art, come scream in the woods. My neighbor is the kind of dude who heats his house with a pellet stove. So I get 2 bags for my rabbit's litter, and he has a pallet. So we're gonna hunt, we're gonna fish, we're gonna do dad shit because he wants to keep his next door house, and we back up to the woods. You know, like he grows vegetables. Like the idea is that like you can come here. Kind of like if you watched The Office and they joke about what Schrute Farms was in the Civil War. Like it's a retreat from Nancy's, you know what I mean? Like, but the culture up here is very much like that. But the accessibility is, are you from, Manhattan? Are you from North Jersey? Are you in your 50s and you love Bob Dylan? That's who gets to come and retreat here a lot. You're either a summer camp kid or you're wealthy, So
it's a place where concrete people can go.
Well, my friends in the band Hardcore that I try to collaborate with on like everything I do everywhere because they're awesome and they're like the last vestige of what I wish was still here from when I lived here in my 20s. They basically told me like, don't ever try to make anything cool here. It's kind of like your racist aunt, And so I kind of always say to those kinds of things like challenge accepted,
Yeah.
I'm a build it, they will come guy. So that's why I'm building a wooden 6-sided throne and ring and shit in the woods, I see opportunity where other people don't. And so I'm just going to push, that's all you can do.
I don't create because I want to. I create because I have to.
Dude, I'm sanding Nerf guns while we're on here for 2 hours, right? Like,
and I think that's the key is like, that's why like doing stuff like this today is so much. It's so fun.
I needed this,
I mean, and even Matt, I would dare you to look back where you were 2 hours ago and where you are right now, because you got to do like weird DC research.
Oh yeah.
And you immediately were like, I'm sorry, what? We're looking for weird shit? I'm sorry.
No, Matt, I'm your friend now. I want to see that shelf, bro.
So yeah, I think
I gotta do a video, but I got shelves.
Shelves are not even a joke.
No.
Fuck, son.
That's not even like as crazy as it used to be.
No, I didn't tell you guys.
Oh God, that
someone opened a store near me. There's a new comic and toy store, and oh my God!
Oh yeah, it's the whole
basement. D&D game once, and I rocked up to this guy's house, and his gaming room was like full Terminator, full size Predator, full size Stormtrooper outfit, glass. Like oh my God, it was crazy. He had a life sized DM screen, custom printed to scale, that was like the outer walls of his own lore, like wizarding Dalaran village. That room is serious. I want to see that room in person.
Yeah,
because as a poor kid, I was like, oh no. I went in this toy store the other day, and it was like everything I wanted as a poor kid, all right in front of me. All the Godzillas, all the Sofubis, all the He-Men, all the wrestling. Holy shit. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm a little bit of a toy obsessive because of want.
Yeah, I hit a point where I started collecting and then I just never stopped.
Yeah, I'm a larfleeze when it comes to that shit. It's like I want all of it, so I can't touch any of it because I'd have to have all of it.
Yeah, it is an interesting row to hoe, but it is, as you said, it has been 2 hours. I am gonna have to go make some lunch.
Thank you for letting me interject, guys. I appreciate it.
No, this was a blast.
Anytime you want to come on.
I really do tabletop stuff, but I am kind of movie obsessed right now. I'm trying to get this trailer out by Monday.
I would say too, like we do stuff on. Well, we'll see with Colin's schedule, but Thursdays, every other Thursday. So this Thursday is Spoop Troop. We are going to, I don't know what, we might do a watch along or we're going to talk about The Stand. I don't know, one or the other. Where we do spooky stuff. And then the other Thursday is Mang on Mang, where I make stuff sometimes, or I open stuff. And Colin does Legos. He's currently working on Rivendell. He finished a whole bag last week, and oh my God. I was like, that's just one bag. And he's like, yeah, we're going to be doing this for the rest of my life. Wow.
Well, I'll walk you over here to show you what I'll be working on today.
Well, always feel free to come on and hang out on those like work stuff, because like
I'll watch it.
Just come on, like show what you're working on while we can just come on.
So we're building a little like temple spaceship set over here. And then over here, as we get into all the red, I found this great, gigantic, like poly projected map of Berkshire County that's very fashy and awesome. So over here, like there we have like our little weird lit like altar set and our little fashy thing. And then as we walk over this way, this is part of what we're doing. So there's a board that crosses over all the iterations of this time machine cloning device thing that we're doing. So behind me right here, you can see we're starting to put in the paneling. There's a projection screen, and there's also going to be, we're playing with, I don't know if you're familiar with Pepper's Ghosts, what makes the Haunted Mansion haunted.
No.
So I'm playing with a bunch of Pepper's Ghost effects where hopefully I will be able to kind of 50s sci-fi theremin project Vlad and Yuri and monsters into various glass things around this whole wall. So basically, the idea of this base is that it is a secret, but it's not. And so it's a fallback position for all these evil scientists and operatives to either time travel or clone. And then on the floor here, I don't know if you recognize these from the promos for the shows, but there was this joke about a Hikara sequencer. So like, this is our evil magic MacGuffin science box. And I have 3 different versions of it. So like a 50s Cold War 60s version,
nice.
And then like an 80s version, and then like a future 20XX version.
I love it.
So that's what we're working on in the basement. 3 sets for our little Toku sci-fi telenovela thing.
I love it. I love it so much.
Anyway,
you're playing
right,
with big, you're playing with big toys. I enjoy it.
I really want to get a big. I'm shooting a moon on kind of what I'm calling my Fitzcarraldo or my Jodorowsky's Dune. Because I always did when I went to film school, they said you're going to be a theorist, and I was like, I wanted to be a pro wrestler to take the wrestling scholarship. So if I don't get to make fucking monster movies, I'm gonna be pissed.
Well, just like, hey, did you see the thing where Carpenter said I would come out of retirement for one movie, and they said what? And he said Godzilla.
Yeah,
they came to me and said, hey, John, you want to do a Godzilla movie? He was like, I would stop my video game long enough.
What are the
enough to say
most
yes?
Globally persistent, successful characters across global cinema: Godzilla and James Bond.
Yep,
and that's what my movie is basically. And it's kind of now. Like what I'm saying is, it's basically a soap opera. Maybe it will edit into a movie, but it will be 2 to 12-minute shorts as we're able to shoot them.
That's the way to do it. Yesterday, Doug and I watched that UFO Cowboys, and we're both like feeling terrible about it because of how much
attention span is not there for epics anymore.
But we also I said, Doug, have you ever seen the movie Creep or Creep 2? No. We watched the first episode of the Creep tapes, 26-minute episodes, brilliant. And you're just watching the guy's tapes of what he does to these people before he kills them, which is just him making situations as fucking uncomfortable and awkward as possible. And the first episode is him tricking a videographer to come out to his house to shoot his acting reel. And he comes down the stairs dressed as Dracula at the beginning, and it is on from there. At one point, he has him shoot his thing and he starts like this. He's like, "Well, just tell me when you're shooting, or tell me when action. Okay, just tell me." And they argue back and forth for like a couple seconds, and he's like, "No, fucking tell me." And it's action, and he does the slow turn. "Hello, I'm Jeff Daniels," but not that Jeff Daniels. And he has to do it like 30 times because he's just mentally fucking with this guy so much. And those are those movies. And Mark Duplass, who is the writer and the producer and the star, is so fucking likable.
Oh, I gotta watch that. Have you seen his time travel?
Movie? Safety Not Guaranteed. Yeah.
No, the one with Elizabeth Moss where they go to the cabin. It's one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen.
The one I love. Yeah,
so
that
good.
Great. This is him as a serial killer who makes people's lives, who tricks people to come record him. These are his little movies, and then he murders them at the end.
Okay, so I have a recommendation for you. I watched Kickboxer and Bloodsport last night, me and the fiance. But we watched a movie it's on Amazon Prime. If you like music or history or the history of pornography or queer history or San Francisco history, it's called Carol Donda Topless at the Condor, and it's about the history of topless dancing in America and moral panic and prostitution. And if you like bar history, mob history, music history, record history, it's great. Awesome. Carol Donda Topless at the Condor. It's longer than you think, but it's an amazing documentary. I highly recommend it.
I will say Creep Tapes. It was the fastest 26 minutes, and I get to watch
I can't wait.
I got to watch Doug go from what are we watching to giggling to eyes wide and laughing super hard because, man, at that ending of that episode of like, well, it's just a fake axe. Because look, I hit the blade on my hand. If it was the real axe, my hand would be bleeding. And then holding his hand out, no blood. And then at the end when they're laughing and everything, and he puts his other hand out, you see fucking blood on his other hand. And the guy with the camera just realizes how fucked he is. And he's like, oh, I mean, you can run, but it's snowing out. The roads are down. Where are you going to run to?
Well, if you like Duplass, you know about Volcano. I'm still excited, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
I'm going to pop this in the private chat so you can find it if you need to. Hess, this seems like it would probably up your alley if you haven't seen it, but it's on Tubi. It's Don't Think I've Forgotten, and it's about
cool
Cambodian rock and roll scene that sprung up before.
Oh yeah, we are massively friends now. Oh, good shirt too.
They because it was all inspired, like they were getting on radio and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's weird vibe, and then almost everybody who was involved in that scene got killed.
Oh my god! No, this is amazing. This is like when I learned about the Nigerian guitar scene, like the Nigerian Lagos disco scene. So thank you for sending me down a 4-year rabbit hole. I appreciate it.
All right, where can people find you two beautiful, beautiful people?
You can find me here every Sunday, just about. You can find me on the Dave Wonder channel every other Tuesday, including this coming Tuesday. I am on Blue Sky now because fuck Twitter, fuck Facebook, fuck Instagram, and all that stuff. So find me on Blue Sky. I'm Hypno Hustler at hypnohustler.bluesky.social or something like that. But or ping me if you need to find that out. And that's me.
I'm on Instagram at Himbo Warlock, LOK, no C. Instagram temporarily. It's kind of a thing of the Berkshires here because I was in restaurants and such. I did sign up for Blue Sky. I got to figure out how to use it. I miss Twitter. I don't like getting judged for how much you can be on Twitter, but how much you are on Instagram Live seems to indicate your mental state. So I hate all social media, but it's a necessary requirement. Please watch this week. So the Party Czar is not dead. The Party Czar is going to be throwing parties.
Nice.
And so I'm going to be open for business depending on as we roll out different ideas, but you'll be able to find me. You can find me, email me all over the place. I got a lot of stuff I'm working on, gallery show. I'm rolling into joy after putting a lot of that stuff away and processing a lot of sad stuff. But yeah, Himbo Warlock on Instagram and Patreon, Himbo Warlock, WARLOK. And hopefully I will be able to get on the regular schedule that I promised my readers this week because now the house is set up like a set. And hopefully the trailer will be out very, very soon. So yeah, I'm really excited. Maybe 1 or 2 more days.
Nice.
Matt got me on Blue Sky, King Ginger. I also put my name in there as Neb Rubbins, Bothan Engineer.
Oh,
so for all you people who watch the Star Wars shit, then you can find me. I'm on Instagram. I only use it to post pictures of toys, basically, especially toys that I've made. I rarely put other stuff on there unless it's also dumb shit. You can join our Discord. I highly recommend it. There's cool people there talking about cool shit. You can find out where all the shows are, who's going to be on, what we're doing.
Figure out how to use that.
Yeah, I need to get more into the Discord as well. But
Super Spike always posts pictures of toys that I want to buy that I can't buy. It's where you can find crafting kids and people putting links to their Minecraft servers that you can join. So
I bought an Ender Dragon. I really like them. I'm not into Minecraft, but I did buy this little thing for my desk.
Minecraft's great. I love Minecraft.
You guys raise more money on a Minecraft stream for me to save my house than an entire wrestling.
It's the most adult Lego you can do. It's like, oh, I want Legos, but I don't want them to take up space.
Again, this is a poverty kid thing where it's like when I had my crisis in March, I bought one $10 Lego, and I was like, this is going to be a problem. I love Matt's house.
I love Legos, and I gave away 6 tubs of Legos to my friends who had kids.
Yeah,
and because I had nowhere to put them. So, and I kept 2. But every birthday, Christmas, I buy my wife a Lego, and I just bought her. I've been buying her sets that are for a town.
Cute!
And I bought her one yesterday that's the downstairs is a cafe, and then it's apartments upstairs.
I love that.
She fucking did it in one night. So
I love that stuff. Miniatures and stuff. Things that are small that shouldn't be small, but they're very twee. I love that shit.
But the nice thing about these fake Legos that you can get off Amazon for $30 to $40, they all come with lighting kits.
Oh yeah.
So you can put lighting kits in them.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's what I want for down. That's what I'm doing against the wall up here is a little fake crashed out city.
Yeah, it's awesome. She loves it. So I got rid of my Legos so she can have her Legos.
I love this.
But like I said, if you need a place to get fake Legos, reach out to me.
Dude, I'm Temu, like we're gonna make fake Power Rangers on this Temu shit. So like be Zordon or whatever. We're getting on this Trans Toku telenovela shit.
And Matt, you still need to be here so you can show me how to take apart Star Wars Black figures so I can finish our scum and villainy characters, because we have the movie poster that Joel did, which is fucking amazing, and I just want to make the figures. Joel's a great artist.
Here she comes.
You can find me here tomorrow night for Chaos Scar. If you like gnomes, if you like magic mushrooms, if you like hoedowns, if you like soap making, if you like weird shit, tomorrow night's going to be your jam.
Did you say gnomes? I have one right here to show you, and the stream with. Hang on a second.
It's all about them.
You like gnomes? You better pop up tomorrow night on the stream. I'm painting one right now.
Hell yeah!
Oh.
Hell yeah!
That's Lil Calix. He's going out front when he's done being painted. He's gonna be like a half warlock, half mech. So he's gonna have like a glowing eye and a sword. I'm building him a little blunderbuss, and he's got like a bow and arrow and shit.
Nice. I haven't talked to Calix in a while, so I need to reach out.
That's Lil Calix. He was one of the people getting me through my times. So we're naming a little gnome outside after him because I'm trying to get him to be Chong Li in my movie.
That dude is awesome, and when he gets rolling, he is amazing.
He is the one person in wrestling who absolutely could have made it and was too nice and too good to be in wrestling, and the kid's like 27.
Yeah.
If I fucked up in high school, he could be my son. He's better adjusted than me.
Wonderful Twitter follow back in those days.
Oh God, just the best person on planet fucking Earth.
I'm so glad that there was a brief overlap where he was out here and I got to see him at a couple shows.
He is from Chaska, Minnesota.
Yep. I know.
Not to out him or whatever. He is from Chaska, fucking Minnesota. Packed his car when he was like graduated high school, packed his car like 17 and a half, 18, and moved west to Philly. And I met him at like 30 when I was Vlad. We are still friends, and he's one of the best people I know.
He did a couple interviews on Heel Turn, and I think the total amount of time for those interviews is like 3 minutes because it's just him yelling and freaking out. And the first time he did it, he told us beforehand, like, hey, I'm gonna do this in character, right? And we were like, yeah, you can do it in character. And it was amazing. James was like,
he was the first person to sleep on my couch when I bought the house.
He's great. He is a great human being, and he's super funny. And he's very, very, very smart.
He plays hockey now, and on skates, he's like 8 feet tall. And I asked him the other day, like, what do people do when they see you fucking? I would just retire.
I'm a big dude. He's as big or bigger than I am.
His unmasked character, I don't know if you know this, and I'm probably, breaking a lot of rules, but like he only saved his gear from his unmasked character because I loved it so much. And
it's a great character. We saw him do that. It's great.
Yeah. So he only kept that gear because I wanted him to do that character because I really think he could have been like the baby Huey Chris Hero of wrestling. He's a giant sweetheart. And he's a fucking monster.
Yeah, he's
like,
a great.
You know what I mean? Like he just reminds me of like the personality of baby Huey, but also he's an absolute fucking dark side Leviathan. Like
I will say, like I've always wished that I could get him and Chris horror show. Zane,
love horror show.
So Chris and Zane will occasionally play Chaos Scar together, as well as Ian, who was Wrestle Ranger on $5 Wrestling. They'll all play together, and it's the most backstabbingest, fun like group of people to run for. But I would always say that I wish Calix would have been in that group too, because I know he's also a big D&D guy.
He is, yeah.
Because I think that would have been insane. Because Chris is like, when I say I'm true neutral, I mean I'm neutral evil.
Yeah.
Zane is like,
I want Chris Horror to build me a hearse. You know what I'm saying? Like I want him to chop me up like a fucking.
Chris is an amazing artist with mini tools.
Yeah.
Zane is fucking hilarious.
Zane did a Russian too for a while, right? I was very jealous because I was doing Vlad and I was like, he's wrestling and already Russian. God damn it! It's like, oh, you could think outside the box, maybe, my friend. No, I liked him a lot. I worked with him a couple times. He's a good dude.
People still ask me when Zane's coming back to Chaos Scar because of his character John Cenagar, who is a barbarian.
No, I love that dude. I worked with him like twice in North Carolina, and I swear to God, he's really funny.
Who's a barbarian who thinks he's a thief because he's convinced people can't see him. It is one of the single fucking greatest characters I have ever played D&D with. He is a riot, and he plays purposefully stupid better than anybody. Where it's not like he does it in a way where it's not like it doesn't come off as like, oh, you're trying to get people to laugh. You're doing it because that's the character, and because like that's what the character would do. And it is the funniest shit. And he never gets he never is high in his own supply. It's always like serving the game.
Yeah.
Oh God. And I feel bad because he's been so busy with AEW shit. But like he's like, yeah, when he wanted to play, it was because he's like, I'm the forever DM where I'm at. And I was like, well, fuck, I will run for you anytime. You're a joy.
That's always my situation.
So like I said, has to get a group of people together. Let me know when you want to do it, and we will do a Lasers and Feelings jam.
Let's get it.
So like I said,
do this today.
No, anytime. Monday night, Chaos Gar. I'll probably do some pedal craft in between there, and then Thursday, Thanksgiving Eve. Like I said, I'm not sure what Colin wants to do yet. I'm going to suggest we do a watch along, and we find some Thanksgiving tinged horror on Tubi. I'm pretty sure it's out there.
Oh, it's there.
And we watch it and enjoy the stupidity of it all together as found family. And then I think that's it all for next week. I'm also trying to figure out something for Sunday the 8th because it's your humble boy's birthday. And I generally end up doing something for other people on that day because I like doing it. So maybe some type of stream on that day. If I can get a weird game together, I will.
It's your birthday on Sunday?
The 8th.
All right. Maybe we get, okay, cool.
I'd like to do something. I used to do, like the last time we did stuff in public together in my house, we did a D&D garden party.
Oh, I love that.
It was super fun. They made invitations, everyone dressed up, and I ran them through a D&D garden party. It was weird. It was really fun.
That's Air D&D, baby.
It was really awesome. Everyone brought stuff. Like everyone made or brought food, and it was just a fucking blast. Other than that, I think I'm going to pedal craft after we're done for 600 calories because I feel like I'm going to eat a whole bunch today. So I want to preemptively.
Hell yeah, let's get this done.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Hess,
thank you guys.
Thank you for coming. Anytime you want to do Mang on Mang and work on what you're working on camera, please. Do so. Matthew, I'm hugging you from afar. I know you can feel it.
Oh yeah, I can feel it.
Catch Matthew Tuesday on the Dave Wonder channel because that's that is the WCW of toy making. There was where the big boys play. And I'll catch you tomorrow night, or probably like 20 minutes after I get all my shit out and get the peddler going for Pedalcraft. Otherwise, have a good Sunday. Stay bombus.
I have to go work on this Lamborghini.
All right.
Later.
Bye.